Okay, I read a little bit of this book, so I'm just going to talk about the first thing that pops into my head. There were a couple points. I think there were five, and don't think I can recall all of them to the top of my head. Some of the things that stuck out to me was almost all the companies. This book, by the way, is called Good to Great by Jim Collins. Almost all the companies, 16 or 18 of the companies that they studied, only one of the companies outside brought an external CEO into the company that revolutionized and took their company from good to great. A lot of the times, the CEOs that are flashy and really outspoken and popular like that don't perform that well. So, second is, and these aren't in order in the book, but the things that pop into my head, the hedgehog effect. He compares it, I remember reading this before, he compares a hedgehog to a fox. The good to great companies, there was no singular event that took them from good to great. It was a slow and steady upgrade every single time, little by little, brick by brick, step by step, they got ahead. And it wasn't one single event that brought them there. And it was a slow and steady, they built upon the strength that they knew they had, like a hedgehog with a lot of defense, a lot of things that would prevent massive failures. And so, like a hedgehog, they crawled forward, compared to a fox, which a lot of other companies are like, very quick-paced and jumping back and forth, trying to take bites from the hedgehog, which obviously is not going to have fun doing because the hedgehog's full of spikes. But a fox, very quick, very all over the place, a lot of energy exploding in every direction, did not do so well. Maybe if they were more focused, but even then, the companies that performed the best principally were slow and steady and made gradual changes. Another thing he talked about was creating a culture, an environment that breeds discipline, a disciplined culture or a culture of discipline. Because with disciplined people, you don't need a hierarchy of people telling and those different levels, right? If everyone was disciplined, if everyone knew their place, if everyone knew what they contributed to the company. If you have disciplined thought, there's no room for politics or bureaucracy because everyone, they would be disciplined in that way, so there wouldn't be any back talking or any negative cultures. And then disciplined action is what you take, and slowly but surely you'll get ahead. I'm gonna look into my book for more references. I'm gonna try sometimes to try and pull stuff straight from my head, but gotta practice this more. So they embrace the truth, like Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos only ever followed the truth. He would experiment, and good to great companies would embrace the truth. And based on that, there's also the Stockdale paradox, which is having faith even in the toughest time, placing your optimism in correct places, placing your hope in correct places, and not having time constraints that will psychologically put you further back. The Stockdale paradox was that the most optimistic people, the ones that believed that they would get freed because they were prisoners of war at the time, and if they believed that next week they'll be saved, next week would roll around and they would still be in prison as a prisoner of war getting tortured. So they'd say, okay, not this week, next month, by Christmas, by summer, by Christmas again, and cycling. Those people, because they set their optimism in a time constraint way, actually did not do very good at surviving. A lot of those people fell and didn't make it through. The people that made it through as prisoners of wars place their optimism in the faith that they will eventually get out. Not necessarily knowing what time or what point that their luck would change and they would get the freedom, but that they would eventually inevitably get it, and that's what made them stick around a lot longer. So knowing where to place your optimism is a key framework. What companies also did from going from good to great was they didn't just focus on what to do to become great, they focused on what not to do. So they did inverse, which Charlie Munger said one of the most powerful tools is inversion. Invert, always invert. He gives a good example of he has a lot of children and grandchildren, and he asked them, what is a tournament that was held that one person there won when they were 75 years old and 20 years old. There's a person who won this tournament, and they won it 2 separate times when they were 20 and 75. So not many people. I think one of his sons had a PhD, a very smart guy. What he did to answer that was he inverted. So he automatically eliminated some stuff. So he said, okay, well, if he's 75, there's no way a 75-year-old could win a tournament in something physically demanding. Okay, so there goes all the sports: volleyball, basketball, wrestling, fencing, snowboarding, none of those. Okay, so, but your intelligence also peaks at a certain age and starts to decline. So when you're 75, you're starting that kind of decline. So it can't be chess. What ended up happening, the right answer was checkers, something relatively easy that they could wrap their minds around. And so when you want to achieve something, think of inversion. If you want to think, how can I be happy? Think about what will make me not happy, right? If you hate, for example, traffic, then don't get a job that's an hour away where you have to sit in traffic. Invert that. Also break down your goals. If you want a happy life, that's big, that's hard to bite into. Well, what does a happy life consist of? Happy years. Break that down further. Happy years into happy months. If you're happy every single month, you're gonna have a happy year. If you're happy every day, you're gonna have a happy month. If you're happy every minute, you're gonna have a happy day. If you're gonna have a happy minute, if you're gonna have happy moments, the moments you're in right now, if you're happy, then you're gonna have a happy minute. If you keep that up, just win most of those and you'll be good. And so there's one more thing, I think, a couple more. Find the right people first to get on your bus, your company. Then find what seats to give them, then find the direction of the company. And so that's basically it. And the use of technology to accelerate what you're doing, but not as a primary thing, not as a building block. Technology by itself won't make a good company. Technology with something that already has a foundation and something built will take you to that another level. So, I need to work on my fitness. Actually, that's good lighting right there. Just worked out with Gerv, started biking, came to this park here, and there's a little bit of traffic, but it's okay. I had headphones in, so I couldn't hear it as much. And I'll talk to you next time. Peace.